Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing tonight? Let's get this show on the road. I'm sitting in the Meijer parking lot. I went in because I had bought a Champion sweatshirt, but it's not a hoodie. So I wanted to see if they had Champion hoodies. I ended up, well, first of all, I bought this thing for my car. It's Old Spice, and it smells really, really good. I like Old Spice. I wear Old Spice deodorant. But then, are you guys ready? They had all kinds of shirts on sale. I shouldn't have gone into the Meijer tonight. So I bought this flannel. Isn't that nice? And then I bought this flannel. And then this one. And then this one. And then I bought 2 pairs of socks. They're like thick. They don't look thick, but they're thick. Do you see? These are to go with my new shoes that I bought. I know they look silly, but I think like it'll look real cute with a flannel, don't you see? Okay. And then I bought these striped socks. Oh, that's cute. They're thick. They don't look like they're thick, but they are. They're like athletic socks. They were $5.99 each. And then I purchased something to review for my review channel. And then this is the Old Spice thing that I bought. So yeah, it's over here. Little late night shopping spree. These shirts were all on sale, so if you want to go to the Meijer, all of their fall flannel shirts are on sale right now for men. I don't know about women. And what I would have paid for a Champion sweatshirt is about what I paid for this shirt, so I feel like I got a pretty good deal. So now I have flannel shirts for this fall. Alex said Costco has really cute flannel shirts right now too, so I might have to go in there and look for some. I do not know how long this I was gonna say my training. I don't know how long this what do you call it is vlog is gonna be, because I'm tired. First of all, I'm really tired, and second of all, I did all my videos today, and then I did a live stream, and I wanted to lay down for a little bit, and I didn't end up laying down, and I have my personal trainer tomorrow. So yeah, that's that. Okay. Let's go. Where should we go? I don't know. Where should we go? I don't know. They're doing something here. They're like paving this area or something. I can't really tell what they're doing. But all of this road is closed off. The exit over here is closed off. What are they doing? It's like making noise. It's like this big machine. Oh, I think they're painting the lines is what they're doing. Maybe. Oh, I had a good day today. So I got a really good night's sleep last night. I finished Orange is the New Black, bawled my eyes out, if you watch it, make sure you watch it past like when the credits are rolling, because each person comes back and they show them like one last time as like themselves, like as, you know, not the character but as the actor, and it's real cute. And then in the background, Tasty is like singing this song, and it's real sad. If you hear her right up to the very end, she like starts crying at the end. It was such a fantastic ending to Orange is the New Black. I know, I've read it like, did I read a review or was I watching a review of, I don't know, but anyway, somebody was saying that they didn't really like the end of, they didn't like the end of it and blah, 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 whatever. I thought the end of it was so fantastic. I was actually talking to a friend of mine about it tonight, because we were talking about like the ending of TV shows, and I was talking about like the end of Lost and stuff, and I thought the end of Orange is the New Black was so well done. Like I really, really liked it. I actually wanted to go down there and then come back up. So I'm going to turn around. I thought it ended everybody's story, in a very, very realistic way. But B, like, some were hopeful and some were not. And I just thought that it ended the way, like, it kind of should end. You know, like, I knew it wasn't going to be all happy endings for everybody, but I just thought it was really, really well done. And I was really happy with it. And there was kind of a pivotal scene in the last episode. This won't ruin it for anybody, but so if you ever started watching it, Piper's fiance, that was at the beginning of the series, he's like at the end of he's in the end of it too. And like, she has a conversation with him, and it was kind of a really cool conversation about, like, you know, your past and who you are now and who you want to be in the future, and like, who's your new version of yourself, like on the other side of what you've gone through. And you know, it was a really interesting conversation. It's like, I think anything that you go through in your life changes you, you know? And I think that it can change you for the better if you so choose to be open to the lesson. But I also think that there are a lot of people that choose to stay bitter about things. I know I have in my life. I've, you know, chosen to stay like embittered about embittered, is that a word? I've chosen to stay bitter about a situation and angry and resentful. You know, I used to do that in my past. I don't really do that as much anymore. And I think part of it is that I just have such an amazing sponsor who, you know, I'm so honest and talk to her about everything that goes on in my life. So anything that happens, you know, she'll say to me, well, this is an opportunity for growth. Like, do you want to work on this? And I never say no, right? Like, I'm not going to say that I'm never a little resistant, because sometimes I am resistant. But I always like end up working through it. And I think then you become a new person on the other side of whatever it is you went through. You know what I mean? It's kind of like doing an obstacle course or taking a class or, you know, whatever. It's like an analogy for in life is that you're not going to be the same person that you were on the other side. You know what I mean? You're going to have learned things through that. You're going to have changed and evolved, hopefully for the better on the other side. And it's kind of cool that you see that at the end with Piper and the choices that she ends up making at the end about being true to who she is as a person. And so I really liked that kind of discussion in the show, so to speak. And there were some other great storylines too. I think, you know, sometimes you find your purpose, you find your way, and kind of, you know, like Tasty's story, if you watched it, like, you know, she finds her purpose, but in a really random way, you know, and it's just really cool, and I don't know. And then there were some sad things that really that happened too, and, you know, I think that are very true to life, and I just thought the whole series was, you know, what's weird about it is that, was it last season? I don't think it was last season. I think it was 2 seasons ago, maybe. That was about the sisters. Like, that season made no sense whatsoever, right? But this season, I think, is one of the best seasons Orange is the New Black has had in a very, very long time. And I was super impressed with it. So, I finished watching that. I started watching Wentworth. You guys, for the life of me, and I don't know if it's been so long or whatever, I even watched the recap, and the recap made no sense to me. I was like, did I even watch this season? Like, did I miss a season? I remember, like, the fighting between Mari and Kaz, but, like, I don't even know what it's about. Like, I really, like, so much of it. The only thing that when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I get it, is, like the warden being pregnant, and kind of some comments about that. I was like, oh, I did watch last season. But there was like so much that I didn't remember from last season. I was like, how did I forget so much? And I think it's because the characters like Mari and Kaz, and I don't care about them. Like, I cared about the characters the first couple seasons. In fact, I was thinking about this. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it. But, you know, like, they killed off one of the best characters they killed off one of the best characters of any show ever. 1. 2. And maybe she comes back this season. I don't know. I'm only like halfway through the first episode. Not even, probably. They gave somebody else cancer. And then she left. But I think she may have died. I don't remember. And then another one of the great characters got out. And I'm like, I don't know, Orange is the New Black did a really great job, I think, of keeping up with the characters once they were out as well, and like showing them as part of the story. Wentworth doesn't do that. And, you know, in all honesty, I liked Wentworth more than I liked Orange is the New Black. So I don't know, maybe it'll just take me a couple episodes and then I'll get back into it. I also want to watch Unbelievable, and I also want to watch, what was the show my friend was telling me about today? A Good Place? The Good Place? We were talking about like watching like shows like The Real Housewives and stuff, which I watched for years and I still love, but like sometimes it depending on my mood for the day, you know, if I'm a little sad or if I'm a little down, like I have a really hard time watching those shows. Like, I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know, I was gonna say maybe it's me getting older, but I don't think that's really necessarily it. Sometimes when I'm like kind of sad or I've had a rough day and, you know, I'm trying to get into gratitude, or I've just dealt with a lot of crap or whatever, it's like those shows seem so toxic, they don't make me feel any better, you know? And we were talking about it, and he said that he and his wife watch this show called The Good Place, and with Kristen Bell. He said it was really good. So I'm gonna maybe try to watch that too. He said like the first 3 seasons were on Netflix, and I looked it up. And it was on there. He said it's about somebody that like passes and then they're in heaven and then they're like not supposed to be there, but they like try to stay there or something. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I did. And then I went to bed and I got a good night's sleep. And I got up today and I went and got my hair cut. I had my hair appointment today. And that was fun. And what else? Talked to Alex's friend Sarah for a while, and she's gonna be our neighbor, like right down the street. I'm so excited. And so that's cool. And what else happened today? I didn't go to my meeting tonight, and I got all my stuff running late, and so I was like, I'm not gonna go tonight. Plus, I've been doing so much sobriety stuff this week. For me to miss my home group 1 week is not gonna kill me. And so I waited for Alex to get home, so I was doing a live stream because he went out to dinner with another friend of ours. Sarah went too, and I had the sober thing. That was like earlier in the evening that I was going to try to go to that and the meeting, and I was like, when I got done with that, I was like, I'm just going home. So I went home, and yeah, then Alex was like, I can, you know, bring you something if you want. And so he brought me fried rice and veggie fried rice and veggie spring rolls from this Thai place that they went to. And he had pad thai. Is that how you say it? Pad thai? Pad thai? Pad thai. I don't know. And, oh, then we watched American Horror Story in 1984. I think it's going to be so good this season. It's about, like, the Night Stalker, which, of course, I know a lot about because of the True Crime Book Club, and so Mel and I talk a lot about this kind of stuff. I've read a lot of articles about the Night Stalker, seen a lot of documentaries, and then it's also about, it's kind of like picks little pieces of several different, like, major horror movies or horror franchises, excuse me, from the 80s, and plays it out. There were, like, so many things in there. I was like, if you aren't, like, a lover of classic films or classic, you know, scary movies, you'd probably miss. But there's so many pieces that are, like, in there that are fantastic. And, like, some 90s movies, too. It wasn't just, like, 80s movies, but the majority of them were, like, 80s movies. Like, anyway. Alex is like, is this supposed to be really cheesy? And I said, I think it's supposed to be like that. But it was good. And it seems scary to me, so I'm excited about watching it. I'm just not used to watching a show that you can't binge watch, you know? I wonder if there'll ever be like a day, I'm sure there is, I'm sure we're right around the corner from it actually, where we don't have like TV shows on TV anymore, where it's all just like streaming networks and you can watch a TV show like the whole thing all at once, you know? Because everybody seems to love to do that these days, instead of like waiting and watching, you know, an episode a week. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I started also last night, I listened to like the first 15 minutes of it. My friend Anna, which is the our book club book for September. I can't remember what the woman's name is that wrote it. And I also watched an interview with her on like some Australian news show. I'm not sure I'm going to be real interested in this book. I was really excited about reading it when we picked it, and then I got into it, and I don't know, there's something about her voice that kind of bothers me. Not her voice, like the voice of like how she wrote the book, if that makes sense. She narrated it in the audiobook. It's real easy to listen to. I mean, it sounds like you're just listening to a friend tell a story, but when you're listening, it's the wording of how things are said. And, you know, I have to say it reminds me a little bit of, I think it was a recovery memoir, and I think it was called Woman Walks Out of a Bar. I read it like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. I don't know. I hated it. I thought it was horrible. And I just remember like her and her friends like sitting around, and she knew she was going to treatment, but they were like putting it off, and they were like, all of her friends were like making fun of it, and I don't know, there just was something to the tone of that book that was really a turnoff to me, and it's very similar to me with my friend Anna, and maybe that will change, I don't know, but it seems to me like she wrote it to an audience that very much has her same life, which she's a photo editor for Vanity Fair magazine. I mean, that's a pretty, you know, prestigious job. And it kind of seems like she's talking to people that would have similar jobs or something like that. I don't know. I don't often feel like this in books, and like that book, Woman Walks Out of a Bar, or whatever it's called, Girl Walks Out of a Bar, or whatever, like I felt like I was being talked down to, like in the book, and that's similar in this book. But like I said, I'm only 15 minutes into it, so I don't know. I think when you're writing, but you know, like in the interview, she seemed very sweet and humble when not the person, the one that took all the money, but the other one. I think the girl's name that is Anna Delvini or something like that. Why can't I remember the girl's name that wrote the book? But I will say the introduction was great. Was it the introduction or was it the interview I watched? Maybe it was the interview I watched. She said in this interview, I Googled her name and like watched the first interview, and one of the things was interesting was she was talking about, like they asked her, they said something about how this Anna, like what she wore to court, because apparently she wore like real fashionable clothes to court, and she afforded this like very expensive attorney and things like that, and they asked her how she thought she could afford that, and she said, well, she optioned her story to Netflix. And so they paid her up front, basically. You know, it's interesting, like that's an interesting conversation when you talk about true crime. Like when we read, like Carrie Rawlins' book about her father who is a BTK killer, like one of the things that people consistently brought up, which I thought was interesting, was family members of victims profiting off of other people's tragedies. You know, and I think that's interesting, that this woman who has scammed all these people out of money, okay, hundreds of thousands of dollars, then sells her story to Netflix. So basically Netflix pays for her defense, of which this girl took her to civil court and she lost. I'm not to that part of that book yet, but like that's interesting to me, right? So Netflix is part of that to some degree. I think is interesting. Maybe not, but in how we look at that, you know. I kind of do have an issue with that, in all honesty. I mean, it's not necessarily the family. I think, like, when you're reading these people's books, like, it's not really their responsibility of what happened, and no, they shouldn't be blamed for it, and I feel for them, you know? Like, this is kind of like this back and forth thing with, like, I don't know, maybe I would have to read another true crime book written by a family member, but, like, I feel like if you're going to do that, and maybe they did, and I'm not aware of this, a certain amount of money should be donated, or, you know, to the families of the victims, or, you know, 50% you make, 50% you give away to the families of the victims, or something like that, because, I mean, you wouldn't be writing the book unless it had happened, right? I just think it's sad. I don't know. But, you know, that was something I hadn't even thought about with reading true crime. I don't know, I guess the same could be said for really anybody, right? That would write a true crime book. That the story wouldn't be out there. I mean, they're profiting off of the tragedy, right? Of what happened. But then isn't that what nonfiction is to begin with, I guess? You know, when you write about anything, whether it be like Jim Jones or, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about that. Put it in the comment section, you know? Like, if a writer of a true crime book, I mean, they're profiting basically off the tragedy and the misery of others. How do we feel about that? Okay, the battery died. I actually thought it was totally charged up, but it wasn't. And I'm sitting in the middle of this neighborhood. Cute in here. Anyway, I was talking about, you know, that sounds weird. The car sounds weird. Sound like my air conditioning or something. I was talking about, you know, like, these people making money off of writing their memoirs, you know, of basically, I don't know, what do we think about that? You know, leave it in the comment section below what you think. I'd be interested to know what you guys said, like I said. I want to get a little bit more into the book before I see what I really think about it, though. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm getting a lot of mixed responses about it. Some people are saying they finished it in a day and they loved it. Other people are saying they finished it in 2 days and loved it. Other people are saying they finished it in 2 days and it was horrible. Other people are saying they DNF'd it, which means did not finish it. There's just a lot of different opinions about it. So, I don't know. I'm interested. I'm hoping it's good. I think, like, I was really in the mood to read something kind of scary this month, you know? I don't know. And then I started that, and I was like, like, I'm just like, this isn't what I wanted to read, you know what I mean? I get kind of in the mood for something, and like on the heels of Lock Every Door, I was like, okay, I'm ready to read more scary stuff. I need to get back into Helter Skelter because I'm way behind on that book, but I am finishing that book. I am finishing it, and we're going to do the live stream on it, and I'm going to finish Helter Skelter. Because what's the saying? Come hell or high water, I am finishing that damn book. I've wanted to finish that book for 3 or 4 years. Well, how long have I been on BookTube? 3 years. I wanted to finish that book for 3 years. I'm finishing that book. We're going to San Diego next week. I cannot wait. So the music festival is Friday and Saturday night. So when Alex originally was like, oh, we're gonna go to this music festival, blah, 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 do you wanna go? Or would you rather just like do your own thing while you're in there? Because I said that I was gonna maybe go, like TwitchCon is there, and I'm gonna meet up with Aphrodite at some point. And I said, it's like a small music festival, and it's like real kind of like trancey music, which I don't love. It's like a mix between trancey and housey music. And I like house music, but I don't love trancey music. And so I was like, don't know that I really want to go. And he was like, okay. And I was like, do you care? And he was like, no, I don't care at all. And I guess it's only like in the evening, and it's only 2 days of the 5 days that we're going to be there. He was like, you don't care that I go? I was like, no, I don't care that you go at all. I'll just like go out to dinner or something, or, you know, do my thing. I said, or I might just go like one night. So we were talking the other night, and he was like, do you want to go? Are you wanting to go to the music festival? And I said, I don't know. I don't think so. Why? He goes, this is totally us, right? He goes, because the tickets are sold out. So if you want to go now, there's no tickets. You're going to have to like, you know, buy a ticket that day off of somebody. And I was like, so I can't go now if I want to go? Now, because my choices are limited, I can't go if I want to go. I was like, okay. When in reality, I didn't even really care if I went to the music festival or not, so. I'm just excited for the trip. I've never been to San Diego. I cannot wait to go to San Diego. I heard it's beautiful. We have absolutely no plans. But my brother-in-law and his girlfriend are going to show us all around. She's got all kinds of things planned. They are so excited for us to come. They want to like rent a boat one day. They're all like real careful. They're like, would you want to rent a boat? Like, would you do it with your fear of sharks? And I was like, yeah, like a paddle boat. Like, cause she was like, well, she had mentioned something to Alex about doing paddle boats in the ocean. I said, I'm not doing that. And he was like, why not? And he was like, would you really not? I go, I'm not doing a paddle boat in the ocean. I'm not doing it. And he was like, are you sure? I go, no, I'm not doing it. Like, people think like this fear of shark thing is a joke for me. Like, no, it's not a joke. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting myself in situations like that where I'm going to be afraid and miserable the whole time. Listen, I'm going to tell you something I learned, okay? If you're in your 30s or you're in your late 20s, or I don't care how old you are, or if you're in your 40s and you haven't learned this lesson yet, let me tell you this lesson, okay? And I actually learned this from my friend Tanya Jean, right? You're on this earth for a very short period of time. Yes, it is important to show up, suit up and show up to many things in your life, right? But you also have the right to reserve the answer no for things that you don't want to do. And you don't have to do things that are going to make you fearful and bitter, okay? And if that's going to be something that they're going to have a better time doing if you're not present, let them go do it. It's just not that big of a deal, right? So, but they wanted to include me in this whole boat thing. So Jesse was like, well, if we got like a boat, like we can get like a, you know, like a captain to take us out, or we can do like a dinner cruise or whatever. And I said, oh, I would totally do a dinner cruise. And she was like, you would? And I said, oh yeah, I think that would be fun. She's like, well, where you get dressed nice and we go on a dinner cruise? I said, oh yeah, I'm totally down to do all that. So I think we're going to do that one night, but I don't need to be going on no paddle boat. Okay. I just don't. And I don't need to overcome my fears with sharks. I just don't feel like that strongly about it. I don't need to test my fears on that, you know? So anyway, I get in the ocean, I swim in the ocean, I'm totally fine with that. Somebody like commented on, I think it was my review video today, because I said something about sharks, or I don't know what it was, somewhere I said something about sharks. Oh no, it was on my rant video. They said, you do realize that sharks are like in, like, they were from Florida, and they left me this comment and said, hey, just wanted to let you know that like sharks are more in shallow water than they are in deep water. Oh yes, I'm very well of that. When we went to Miami, I think it was 2 years ago, we were like sitting in the beach in front of where we sit, you know, like right in front of, well, right there on Ocean Drive, you know, right by like 13th and Ocean Drive. We were sitting there, and like exactly where we were a week later, we had left, and our friend was sitting right there, and she was she like walked up to the edge because they were saying there was a shark in the water, and she literally was recording it on her phone, where probably an 8 or, oh, I don't know how big it was. It wasn't small. I'd say 7, 8 feet shark was literally swimming within 5 feet of the shore, and it was just going like this. And I have been swimming probably 100 feet out farther past that. No, ma'am. I would have lost it. So yes, I'm very well aware that there are sharks in shallow water, and thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate that. And I mean that in all sincerity. Now I'm scared to death to even go in shallow water. But, there's a bunch of things Jesse wants to take us to do, and Fufu and her have both like got it all settled out and like what they want to. I'm excited about it. It'll be fun. They love to have people visit them. Alex wants me to ride that scooter thing. He's like, are you going to try the scooter thing? I said, we have the scooters here if I really wanted to do those bird scooter things. He was like, yeah, but they're more fun out there. And I go, okay, I'll try it. It'll be fun. Like, let's do it. Let's try all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited about that. And then, yeah, I'm just going to like walk around and those nights that they're there. I'll probably find a place to go eat dinner by myself somewhere. I kind of, in all honesty, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but like I enjoy that. Or like getting room service and just sitting in the room and watching watching movies, or like, you know, like taking a walk on like the beach or whatever. Like I enjoy that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be fun. And we have like 2 whole days that like they're not gonna be available until the evenings too, which then that'll give us like time during the day. I kind of like to just lay on the beach or go to the pool or something like that during the day if it's still nice out there. I don't know what the temperature is gonna be like out there, but I'm sure if it's like 88 here like it was today, it's probably still going to be warm out there, I would think. I've got to lose 25 pounds before next week when we leave. Yeah, as if. Do you remember we used to always say that, as if? Was that from the movie Clueless? I was trying to think, what is the thing that Madonna used to say all the time in the Blonde Ambition tour? What was that movie? Truth or Dare? I love that documentary so much. That's probably one of my favorite documentaries too. What was that thing she used to say in there all the time? She would say something. Celebration, come together in every nation. I'm probably a bigger Madonna fan than anybody knows. I love Madonna. Oh my Lord. I'm gonna crash tonight. And I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go into my training. And I'm not gonna eat fried rice tomorrow. I'm gonna eat healthy food tomorrow. Why can't I think of what that was that Madonna said? I know somebody's like shouting it out right now. She used to say it all the time in that show. And then Paris Hilton said on The Simple Life, "That's hot," all the time. Do you remember that? Oh my God, I love that show, The Simple Life. Around that time, I watched like The Simple Life every episode. The Anna Nicole Smith show. Anna Nicole. I watched that like every episode. So tragic. Makes me so sad. Did they ever find out if she ever got any of that Marshall's money? That Danny Lynn is really pretty. Have you seen pictures of her? She looks just like her daughter. She looks just like Anna Nicole. I remember seeing Anna Nicole Smith on like the Johnny Carson show when she was a guest model. I think it still was the Johnny Carson show. It was long before whoever Jay Leno came on. I don't know, maybe it was Jay Leno at that point, but whoever it was, maybe she was on David Letterman. She came on and I remember her coming out there and she looked gorgeous. Do you guys remember those original guest ad pictures with her? I mean, she changed everything. You know, we talk about these models today. It's like, we talk about, you know, all of these celebrity kid models like the Hadids, and we talk about like, you know, Kendall Jenner and all these people. Like, I mean, Anna Nicole Smith changed some stuff about how we look, you know, at things. Plus, she was small when she started modeling, if you guys remember. I mean, she was like smaller than she was as she got older, but she was still plus size. I mean, it was kind of a change. Like, her waist was small and stuff, but like overall, I mean, she was more of a plus. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Who's the one that I really love that was like the very first like plus size model that was Sports Illustrated? Is that Ashley Graham? Is that her name? it's important that we see all sizes of people and all looks of people and things like that in the public or in magazines, and you know, because I think that's what we look to when we grow up. I remember there was a magazine, I think it was called Sassy, maybe. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And it was for like teenage girls. It was like Teen Cosmo or whatever, but it was like fashion and whatever. And I remember reading this book by the editor, and she had like taught some conference or something, and then I didn't go to the conference, but like I got this book, and I remember on the front of it, she was like the editor-in-chief of Sassy magazine, I think as well. I think it was Sassy magazine. And she was sitting on the front of it, and she had like her, like, she was in like overalls and like this flannel shirt, and then like these Converse, like Chuck Taylors, and then like these crazy socks, and I think she had a tie on or something, and like some fun hat, and she was on the cover of this book, just sitting there with her legs crossed, and she was talking about, like, the whole book was about the importance of like seeing representation in magazines. So, you know, like, in talking about like girls, like if you are the flat-chested girl or the big-breasted girl in high school, it's important that you see all of those looks, right? And, you know, and then it talked about like bullying between girls, and girls bully the girl that's too tall or has too many freckles or is too flat-chested or too big-breasted. You know, we don't talk about that enough, I don't think, you know? That, like, we always want to talk about bullying just being about this, and this, right? Instead of it being about all these different things. Bullying is about picking somebody out that is identified as different and making them feel even more different, you know? And in all of my work that I've done with bullying, and I've done quite a bit of anti-bullying advocacy, one of the things I've learned is that you hear so many different people's unique stories, but the emotion and the theme is similar, and how they feel, what it does to them, how it belittles them as a human being, how their self-worth is minimized by it, how they feel like they don't have any power or control and that they live in fear. But whether it's because you're too skinny and somebody's telling you every day at school, you need to eat a cheeseburger, you need to eat a cheeseburger, you need to eat a cheeseburger, and that can be in the workplace too when you're 35. It doesn't have to be when you're 16 years old, right? Or whether you're super heavy and, you know, growing up, you've always been heavy or whatever, and you struggle with your weight and people are making fun of you for your weight at school, or whether you have freckles, or whether your hair is frizzy, or whether your hair is too curly or too straight, or whether you're gay or effeminate acting or too masculine, or the voice is funny, or, you know, whatever the thing is that you're being made fun of for, whatever it is, you know? The feeling that it does to us is similar. So it doesn't really matter why they're picking us, you know what I mean? And that's what I really realized over time. But what's also similar about it is that when you talk to the bully, okay, the reasons why they do it are all pretty similar as well. And so you have a person over here that is diminished, their self-worth is lowered, and they're made to feel less, and they believe in it, and they live in constant fear, okay? And then you have this person over here that is seeking acceptance and validation, which is what a lot of it is, because they want to be the center of attention. Why? Are they not getting attention at home? Is it make them feel better as a person? Do they have low self-worth and so it builds them up? You know, it's all of these things together, right? So what they're doing is they're doing it, and it has nothing to do with that person. It's usually never personal whatsoever. So when you can sit the bully and the bullied down together, okay, and I learned this because this is what happened between me and my bully. When we sat down together in our 30s, but wouldn't it be great if this could happen much before that, to do anti-bullying advocacy in the schools. If you could have schools do this and have somebody come in that was trained and have the bully and the bullied, you know, the bully and the bullied sit down and talk to each other and share stories of who they were as human beings, and have them committed that they had to do, let's say, 6 things together, you know, where they would have to sit down there and tell stories of each other, and start seeing each other as human beings, I think it would stop. I think we would stop seeing this happen as much. I really do. Do I think there would still be isolated incidents? Yeah, I really do, because I think that we live in a really scary world today. When I was getting my master's degree, I remember we read this book, and it was called, oh, it was such a great book. I always get the title wrong. I think it was called Fist, Knife, Gun. And it was about the fact that, like, if you looked at, I've talked about this on here, but it's been a long time. It was talked about, we like read this book and we analyzed it in this class, and it was such an interesting book to read, because it was talking about how, you know, in the 50s and the 60s and the early 70s, well, 50s and the 60s, it was like fist, right? Like, if I was at school and I was gonna fight you, like, I would say, 3 o'clock out back, we're gonna, like, you know, we're gonna swing, and, like, I'm gonna punch your lights out or whatever, okay? And that was what it was. It was a fight. And we still see some of that today, but it was a fight and everybody in a circle and watching it and whatever, right? So that was like the 50s and the 60s. Well, then we have the 60s and the 70s. Now you have to mind you, I was in school in the 90s. So then we have, you know, the 50, that was the 50s and the 60s. Then we have the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s, right? And that was knifing people. And so then fights were all about knifing people. Well, then flash forward to the 80s and the 90s, crime like that and violence changed to guns, okay? So the weapon changed, and over the course of time, the weapon had, you know, changed, and it went from a fist to a knife to a gun. But the aggression and the anger and the rage never really changed inside. Like, it was the same if you looked at, like, these studies that had been done over a period of time. Like, the anger from the person in the 50s was not a whole lot different than the anger from the person in the 90s. How they transposed that anger was totally different, right? And it was really interesting looking at that. And, you know, it makes you kind of wonder, and, like, I don't want to get into a whole discussion about this on my channel, and, you know, because I know everybody has different degrees of, you know, belief systems about that, but it makes you wonder why, like, if you look at it from that point of view, right, as anger staying the same, but the course of the weapon changing, well, so is the availability of those things. The availability of certain weapons has changed, too. You know, we didn't have semi-automatic guns in the 50s. We just didn't, right? How many school shootings did we see in the 50s? Well, why is that? Is that because we lived in a more neighborly environment? Well, sure, maybe, okay? Or maybe anger has always been there. It's always resonated within people. We saw horrific crimes in the 50s and the 60s. Why is this out of focus? Come on. Come on. So I don't know, you know, like, is it that the weapon of choice changed over time, and that, you know, now they're more available, and so that's why we're seeing all of these, like, you know, school shootings and things? I don't know, it's scary to me, it's sad, and I don't know the answer to it, you know? I don't know. I think we're gonna have, I think, like, to solve any of that, you know, is really about taking all of our opinions and putting them aside, and almost kind of having, like, a peaceful symposium where we can sit down and this person over here can say, well, but I still want my right to this. And this person can over there can say, well, I understand. I mean, could we, like, maybe if we could all see that the common good is solving the problem, that we don't want any more people, any more unnecessary lives lost. Okay, I understand this person doesn't want their rights taken away from them, and this person doesn't want to lose a child, and this person feels this way. But maybe if we put all of our opinions aside, right, and we could actually talk to one another like adults. Like, I don't know, it makes me sad sometimes. I think, could we be solving these problems a little bit more if we left our opinions at the door and we started, you know, and not just with that, but with a lot of things, you know, and we left our opinions at the door and we tried to start, like, hey, like, let me look at you as a human being. I understand where you're coming from, right? Like, I understand your background and your history, okay? So, my best friend and I, my best friend of over 22 years, 23 years now, we have very different beliefs on stuff, very different backgrounds, okay? That has never stopped us from being able to have an intellectual conversation, a discussion, right? And I have over time changed my opinions about some things, and so has she, by being open to having that conversation. What has happened that we are not able to have a conversation with each other in our society anymore? You know, I think that's really the thing. It's not about anybody being right or wrong. It's about, we need to be able to sit down and have a conversation about these things, an open, honest conversation where everybody's opinions are heard. Not that somebody's right or somebody's wrong, you know? Where can we meet in the middle? Are there some ways that, I don't know, it makes me sad, and not just about that, but about so many things that have happened over time, you know, like, I don't know. The bullying thing is a huge thing, like, you know. Oh, it's gonna stop, hold on. You know, I talk about this a lot on my videos. One of the things I don't understand is this. That, you know, I graduated from high school in 1990. I was bullied horrifically. I know I was not the only one. I actually had somebody reach out to me. I did a video on my main channel about bullying in my story. And they reached out to me and they said, I could not believe this. And I didn't even really remember this person. They said, I don't know if you remember me, but we graduated from high school together. And they said I was horrifically bullied just like you were. But they told me for what, and it was something completely different. Here we were both living our own hells together, individually. And I didn't know someone else was going through it. And I'm sure it wasn't just this person. I'm sure there were 50 other people that were probably going through very similar things, right? What would that have been like if we could have all sat down and talked about that? And talked about our feelings or emotions about that? What if we had programs set up in schools to actually talk about those things, okay? Corny, probably. We probably would have called it that. You know, but I don't know, maybe we would have looked at things differently. But I'll tell you something else that's interesting to me is I don't remember a whole lot of suicides and deaths as a result of being bullied in high school. When I went to high school, I don't remember hearing about it on the news. I don't remember about feeling that way. I knew that I had to deal with it, but I don't remember that being an option. Well, we're 30 years down the road, and I sure as hell know a lot about it today. I see it on the news. I hear about it all the time. It just seems to get worse and worse and worse. Why is that an option today? You know, why are we not sitting down and talking about this? And a lot of schools, if you talk to a lot of schools, will say, well, we don't have a problem with bullying, and we have bullying protocol in place. And yet people are still dying, you know? It makes me really, really sad. And I don't for one second think that I have any of the answers. I don't. I wish I did. But I think that we have to start talking to each other like human beings. And even if somebody else's opinion, if spoken in a correct, appropriate, compassionate way, if their opinion does not match with mine about a serious issue, right? Like, why can't we respect each other on the fact that I don't agree with your opinion, or I don't agree with your stance on how this should be handled, but let me listen to you, and then will you listen to me? And then can we have a conversation, and maybe you can tell me why you're coming from that point of view, and maybe I can tell you where I'm coming from, and maybe we can learn about each other a little bit. Why are we so afraid of that? I really don't understand it. Why are we so gung-ho on just coming for somebody and just tearing them apart and mutilating them over their opinion? Like, I really don't understand it. I just don't, you know? It really, really makes me sad. And you know, the thing is that when I see it, and I am not, listen, I'm not talking about YouTube beauty influencer drama, okay, on like YouTube. I'm talking about much more serious things that go on in our world. Not that that's not serious to some people, I'm sure, okay, but I'm saying that I'm talking about things that are leading to death, things like that, right? What has happened where we can't just sit down and have a conversation with one another? You know, like, that if you don't agree with me, blah, 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 whatever. And then I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were telling me that, like, somebody that they knew likes to like just rile stuff up on Facebook and just like put out these like blatant statements. Like, this is part of why I don't go over to Facebook, you know, is because people just get real irritated over there. And then it's like, then they want to come out and it's like it's just this aggression back and forth. And I just don't really understand why you would just want to just rile somebody up for no reason, you know? People, a lot of times, I think, have very personal responses to things because they've had very personal stories attached to it, you know? So, for example, if you feel like completely anti this, right? It's probably because you have some personal story attached to that. And if you feel pro the other way with whatever issue it is, it's probably because you have some personal issue attached to it, right? Okay. Well, if that's the case, why can't we share that with one another? Like, it makes me sad. Well, let me tell you the way I feel about this. I don't mince words when it comes to addiction. You know, I just don't. I tell you why I feel the way that I do. I tell you, listen, I got sober. I lost 12 years of my life to it. 12 years. I started using when I was 12 years old, and I got sober when I was, 22 and a half years old, and I lost my childhood to drugs and alcohol. I gave them away. I've lost friends. I've lost family members. I am very, very personally affected by addiction. But the flip side to that is that it also saved my life. I wouldn't have what I have today. This whole car smells like Old Spice right now, just so you know. I wouldn't have what I have today or be who I am had it not been for the drugs and alcohol that led me to recovery that gave me the life that I have today. So as angry as I get at drugs and alcohol, I'm very thankful too. It's just a double-edged sword for me. But I don't mince words about that. So, if you were to say to me, well, I believe in this, let's sit down and talk about it, right? People are very mystified often with me, like why I believe in the decriminalization of marijuana, okay, as an addict. Because I do personally believe that you can be physically addicted to marijuana. I believe I was one of those people. And I think that withdrawal symptoms to marijuana look like rage. They look like anger. They look like sleep problems that we write off as other things. But those have kind of been documented at this point, and most, scientists and medical professionals know that you can be chronically addicted to marijuana, just like you can to any other substance, like caffeine, nicotine, anything. You can be chronically addicted to it. Do I think that everybody that smokes pot is chronically addicted to marijuana? No. Do I think that if you smoke a little bit, you're chronically addicted? No, I don't, right? But just to use Indiana as an example, and I don't know the specific statistics today, but this is what they used to be. 80%, okay, was the recidivism rate for women that left our prison systems and Department of Corrections, and the recidivism rate of them reoffending and going back in was 80%. The majority of those women, it was like 80 to 100% of those women that were back, that reoffended, were back in the system for failed drug screens for marijuana. Now, we're talking about women, okay, that have kids who are now in foster care, that they are not able to be there for their kids. Many of which, got into the Department of Corrections anyway because of having boyfriends or husbands and partners that they covered for. So they've been in the system, they've been in the system, they've been in the system. So instead of us trying to help these women and get them out of the system, we continue to put them in placements of, and then if you reoffend, you don't just go back for 3 months. You typically go back for a longer stint, right? So you're in there for a year, let's say. So we're now paying to house somebody for a year for a failed drug screen for marijuana, okay? Which I don't know if they're chronically using. But what happens then is, and our systems, our Department of Corrections is way filled anyway. Halfway houses are way filled from people that are getting out of these getting out of prison systems and things like that. So there's nowhere for people to go that need the help. And then we're not filling these spaces with people that are really doing like true crime. Like, we don't have that. We're wasting money and space, okay? And I'm not saying just to write it off, but I also think that we have to destigmatize marijuana too, because I think that there are a lot of great medical benefits for Marinol, which is the pill form of marijuana. And, you know, in the state of Indiana, I think the only thing that you can use Marinol for is AIDS patients. I could be wrong, but I think that's it. Maybe cancer, I'm not sure, I don't know. Pain management. But I don't believe you can use it for pain management in the state of Indiana. But, you know, I think that we have to destigmatize that stuff. But I don't have I don't have huge personal issues attached to that, except for the fact that it breaks my heart that we're seeing women continue to reoffend and reoffend and reoffend, and then their kids are in the system, and then their kids begin offending, and then it's this non-stop cycle over and over and over and over and over again. When are we going to stop the cycle? And people are always surprised by me about that. But, you know, I'm more than willing to sit down and have a conversation with somebody all day long about the decriminalization of marijuana. But you know, the violence that also goes on with street dealing and things like that, okay? Which we don't talk a lot about that. We don't talk about it being a cash crop, and it being one of America's biggest cash crops. You know, or the fact that we have in every major city tons and tons and tons and tons of street dealers and people that are over them and people that are over them and people that are over them. What happens to those people when you legalize the marijuana and other drugs? Okay, what happens to that? So that's the other side of it that I don't know anything about, you know, and I think that we need to be having educated conversations about this, instead of just, it's my right to smoke pot, I want to smoke pot. Well, okay, that's probably not for the person that's really being offended by it, you know what I mean? That's not by the person that's probably, you know, that they're directly getting affected by it, if that makes sense. Like, so I don't know, I wish we were having more educated conversations about these issues, you know, instead of people just getting personally offended and saying, like, you know what, I should be able to smoke pot if I want to smoke pot. Well, it goes a little deeper than all of that, you know? And then we need to have regulations around that as well, I think. So that people, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't really care a whole lot about that kind of stuff. I know I am never going to live in a time where things like cocaine and heroin are legal, so I don't have to worry about that. Marijuana, you know, people say it's a gateway drug sometimes. Well, anything can be a gateway drug, I truly believe. I think a beer can be a gateway drug. I think a beer was my gateway drug. You know, I just think anything can be. And I think the first thing that you use that you like is a gateway drug. But just because I believe in the decriminalization of marijuana, like, people ask me this all the time, so then you would smoke pot? No, I got a liquor store right up the street. I can't drink legally. I mean, I can drink legally, but I can't drink. I'm not successful at drinking. You know what I mean? Like, once I start, I don't stop. And it's very much the same for me with smoking pot. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe that other people can do that. I totally believe that other people can smoke pot and they don't have the same problems that I do. You know, but I'm very passionate about the people that they can't, and it's affecting their lives. Why can't we just have conversations about this stuff? Why are we so scared? And then if you don't like my opinion, then screw off, whatever. You know, it's like, why can't we just have opinions about things? But at the same time, it's like, people want to be really, you know, whatever. But one thing I will always stand by is my belief about addiction, and that it's not spoken enough about in this country, and that it is very, very serious. You know what I mean? Like, I'll listen to you all day long. I'll listen to what you have to say. And if you, like, when people come to me and they start spouting things that are not true, I'm quick to correct them, and I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that stuff. You know, and scary to me, you know? I feel very blessed too that like I had parents that felt very strongly and very passionately about what they believed in. But I would also see them explain it, you know, why they felt that way. Or, you know, and my parents did not necessarily agree on a lot of things when it came to big issue stuff. Well, I mean, like issue stuff, like they didn't really care about. But when it came to, you know, the big stuff, like they didn't sometimes agree on stuff. I feel blessed though, you know, like, I don't know, I just feel blessed that I was able to go to my parents and ask them questions whenever I had questions about things that I didn't understand, and that it made me feel stupid for that, and, you know, if they didn't understand something, you know, they would send me to somebody that did, and, or try to educate themselves on it, you know. I have rambled and preached tonight, haven't I? I've been on Facebook a little bit more lately than I usually am. And I don't know why I've been like checking it every day. And I think it's kind of lit a fire under me, because I see so many people that have all of these like really, really strong opinions about stuff. Like just like out of the blue, right? Like, they just have some random opinion about something, and the tone is just so like let me tell you something, right? Can I say this on the heels of me getting really like heated about the decriminalization of marijuana? Listen, I'm totally open to being proved wrong, okay? I will just say this all day long. I'm totally open to being proved wrong. Except for the things that I'm right about. Now, when I say that I like correct people if they say things, like this is what I mean. When people say to me like, oh, you can't be drug tested for like LSD, it has to be in like a spinal tap. No, that's incorrect. Okay, you can drug test for anything in urine, anything. And you can actually pay extra, and like let's say if somebody is like huffing Glade or Febreze, they can tell you if it's the difference between Glade and Febreze. That is how like to the point our drug screens are right now in our country or in our world, right? So when people say, oh, you have to like, you know, do a spinal tap, no, that's crap. That's not true. There's no such thing as like contact highs from marijuana. That's a myth. Trust me, I know. I've been trained enough in enough conferences. I've had enough addictionologists, enough doctors to sit in a room and tell me these things over and over and over again. Smoking marijuana does affect your driving. Okay, it's been proven. There have been tons of scientific studies done to prove it. You know, where they've like even had like pilots do simulated landings and people driving simulated cars after they've gotten high, and they've proven it. It does affect your driving, on and on and on. Those are the things that I like would correct somebody about. But if they really wanted to fight about it, I'd be like, just believe what you want to believe. I don't really care. But I just wish that we could have more of a conversation, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem to me like we're really solving a whole lot of problems these days, you know? Does it you? Has this camera been out of focus the entire night? I don't know. It's driving me nuts. I keep on looking at it and I feel like it's out of focus. I had this friend of mine in recovery, and he was older. And people would, he's passed since, but and not from addiction, he passed sober, but people would always ask him if he watched the news, and he'd say, ah, hell, I don't watch that stuff. Something happens, people let me know. And I think I had like a grandparent that said that too, you know? It's like, and I kind of think that way sometimes. It's like, I watch the news and I educate myself on what's going on, because there was a period where I just didn't keep up with the issues, and now I feel like I need to know. Like, I feel like it's important for me to know. But it makes me sad. It's just, there's so much fighting that goes on. don't like that, you know? I don't like... You know, it's weird. It's like... In the last year, I have focused so hard on finding a place of peace and serenity on a daily basis and being content. And that, you know, I say this on a regular basis, that my peace and serenity is not a luxury to me. And I work so hard on it every day. And it's almost like, you know, like when you're up a lot at night and then you get up one day early and it's like really bright outside, or, you know, you're like going to a cave and you never really realized how bright it was until you came out of the cave and then you realized how bright it was. It's like, since I have like really tried to just focus on my peace and serenity in the last year and just kind of do my thing and whatever, I really, really never realized the amount of ugliness and toxicity and chaos that is out there, that I was part of, that I was putting out there too, and I was participating in it. I'm not saying that I wasn't, but I never really realized it until I stepped away from it, you know? And now it's like, it makes me sad. I see it, and I'm just like, whoa. And I still participate, I think, in it to some degree. You know, I'm not going to say that I don't always. But, like, at the same time, it's like... Like, I just see some stuff, and it just, you know, on social media, and it makes me so sad. Like, step away from it for a while. Here, try this. Step away from it for 30 days. Go back, and trust me, you'll see what I see. You know, and just to take Facebook, for example. I have a friend of mine on Facebook, and I haven't seen him in a while, but I would say, I don't remember him being, like, extremely angry, and, like, the tone of, like, his posts and stuff has changed over time. But it's like every time, like, there's just daily posts, right? They're like several times a day. And they're always just very attacking and negative. And I'm like, it makes me sad for him. It doesn't make me, like, confused. It doesn't, you know, whatever. And it just, like, it makes me very, very sad. And there was last week, late last week, he said something, and I texted him, and I was like, hey, just checking in, because I was, like, worried, you know, like, and he didn't even respond, and I don't know, like, I just see this, and it makes me sad for people. It's like, it's just, like, I see that a lot. I see people, like, really, really filled with anger, you know, and I can't live in that space. I mean, I just really can't live there anymore. Tanya and I talk about that a lot, you know, that toxicity, you know, that when you're in it and you're living in it, you don't even realize it sometimes. I just don't even want anywhere near it. And it doesn't make me judgmental towards people that are. I've been there. I've been that person, you know? It makes me feel for them. It makes me sad for them. I don't think we see it when we're in it. Like, I don't really think we see how it's affecting us. Sure, it's affecting other people, but really at the core, it's affecting us. And it was really affecting me, you know? It was really affecting my attitude and my mood and my relationships with other people. It was gonna stop, hold on. Didn't I say this was gonna be short? Every night. But, like, I don't know. Here would be my... I just want to say this for anybody out there that's listening to this. If you relate to this at all, okay? If you find yourself... I don't know what is going on with this camera tonight, but it's driving me nuts. If you find yourself, okay, waking up and feeling negative or feeling pulled towards negativity and like getting real riled up about stuff, you know, take a step back, right? And ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? Like, is this really truly how is this how I want to feel? And then ask yourself, where is it coming from? Is it coming from me watching news shows or the Real Housewives? Or is it coming from social media? Is it coming from Facebook? Is it coming from Twitter? Where is it? And distance yourself from whatever that is. And that also means distancing yourself from your own participation in that, right? And taking a look at who you are and what your part is in that. And then take some time away and then take, let's say, 30 or 60 days and really focus on finding some peace on a daily basis, whether that's taking a walk outside for 5 minutes or taking a bath or meditating to yourself or praying if you have a higher power or just doing deep breathing exercises or whatever, and finding kind of a peaceful state of mind. And don't visit that, right? You know, I watched this thing this was really, really helpful to me, and y'all know I love the scary movies and I'm not gonna stop watching them. But I watched this interview with RuPaul, I think it was with Oprah, I think I told you guys about this. And RuPaul said on there that Oprah asked him something like, you don't watch scary movies? And he was like, no, not at all. And he was like, you know, I don't believe in letting the dark in. I don't believe in letting the negative in. I only believe in letting the light in. And that really resonated with me. And I heard that at a time that I really, really needed to hear that. How much are we allowing the negative in? How much are we allowing ourselves to participate in the negative? Or how much are we participating in the light? You know, I want to participate in the light. I want my life to be that way today. I want it to be full of joy and happiness and peace and serenity. To whatever degree I can have that, you know? The thing is that at first, it's kind of like that fear of missing out. You feel like you're not part of something bigger than you know, like, because you're not doing that. But then over time, what you realize is, oh my God, this feels so much better. Like, this feels so much better. Like, I don't feel the pitter pat and all of that stuff anymore. Like, I don't need that. Like, keep it over there. Like, I don't want it. I don't need it, you know? Something smells like fresh baked bread all of a sudden in here. It's the weirdest smell. Am I dying? I'm going to the bakery in the sky. Where am I smelling that from? It's outside, so it's not me. Oh, is it that? Why is the Old Spice thing smelling? No. It's not outside, it's the car. It's the Old Spice. I'm smelling like something that's smelling like bread, but it's Old Spice thing. I know it sounds real hippie-ish. I know it does. But peace and serenity is where it's at today, I'm telling you. It's nice. I don't want to get worked up like that anymore. It's not worth it to me. I think you live longer, and if you don't live longer, at least you live happier, you know? I hope so, at least. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here now. This has gone a lot longer than I thought it would, so I hope you guys are having an amazing Thursday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, do not have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something exciting. Practice some peace and serenity in your day today. If you find yourself going to some toxicity, stop yourself and say, just for today, I'll do something different. You know? If you find yourself going to say something negative, instead say something positive. See how it works for you. Just try the opposite. See what happens. We always have options. We always have choices, you know? I think we forget that sometimes. Somebody upsets you at work, instead of cussing them out or, you know, whatever, do the opposite. I don't know, go buy them some French fries for lunch or something. It's hard to do this stuff sometimes, but trust me, this is the work that we have to do to get where we want to get. When they say to you, why are you buying me French fries? Say, I don't want to fight with you. It's just not that deep. I'm sorry I upset you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight with people. It's just not worth it, you know? And, yeah, don't forget, it's not a dress rehearsal. You're trading a day of your life for today, so. And I need to remember that. I need to remember that too. And if nobody else has told you this today, you know what I'm gonna say, don't you? Because I say it every day. I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you tell yourself, I love you, you are important, you matter, and you are valuable. Tell yourself all good things about yourself, but most importantly, make sure that you pass it on to somebody else and let them know how important they are, that they matter to you. There's a lot of people that don't get to hear it. And it was funny, somebody commented, because I said it on my main video today, my rant video. I said it, or yesterday I said something about it. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And they said that they were in recovery in Southern Indiana, and there was a guy that used to close every one of his shares that way. And I immediately thought, I wonder if my friend, if she knows him, and that's where she learned it from. Nothing's original. It's all just stuff that we pass on. You know what I mean? That's the great thing about life. We just take a lesson, pass it on. Take a lesson, pass it on. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya. Love ya. Love ya. Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Tonight? Well, I did it again. I slept straight through the night. It is currently 6:08 a.m. on Saturday. So this is Friday's vlog. But I feel really rested, so the reason why it's a problem is not so much that I'm getting up at 6 a.m. and filming my vlog, which I'm sure is strange to a lot of people, but it's not strange to me. Actually, I saw my neighbor yesterday, my new neighbor that moved in. She was like, you have kind of crazy hours. And I said, yeah, and she knew that I like make videos for YouTube. And I was explaining to her what I do, and I said, you know, sometimes I like to go to sleep with Alex, and so like I'll go to sleep with Alex, and then I'll wake up and be like, oh my god, I forgot, you know, I still have to go vlog, and so I'll go outside and I'll vlog and whatever. And she was like, that's so much fun that you get to do that. And I was like, yeah, I love it, you know. So anyway, it wouldn't really be a problem today, because I would go back home and maybe go back to sleep for a couple hours, although I'm weirdly like awake. And I think the reason is because I literally got 7+ hours of sleep. I slept straight through the night. I mean, I was out. I remember like Alex and he like put his hand across my chest, and we were like talking about today or Saturday, and I turned like, and I was like, good night, babe, love you. And I like turned over and I was out. Like, I don't remember anything after that. And he was on his phone when I told him good night. So it is cold in Indianapolis. It is 30 degrees. Oh, but the reason why, like it usually wouldn't matter, but today it does, is because today is Carlitos' birthday party, which is at 2 p.m. And I'm meeting Alex there because he has like work stuff he has to do today. And then I got some water before I left. I was so thirsty for water. You know, and of course I want to make videos and stuff. So we've got to figure out a time to do that, because we're apparently going to his birthday party at 2 o'clock. I'm sure that will probably go 2 hours, 3 hours, and then we're supposed to go back over to Carlos and Liliana's for like, to hang out and do like birthday cake or something over there. So it'll end up being this very long deal. Well, I also have my audiobook that I have to listen to. And so my plan had been to really drive around tonight, Saturday night, and listen to like 4 hours of it. That had been my plan, to listen to 4 hours on Saturday night and 4 hours on Friday night, sorry, and 4 hours on Saturday night, and then have the whole thing done. I know there are some people that are like so confused right now, like what day it is and whatever, watching this. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's like Janice Joplin said, it's all the same effing day, man. But you know, like, I was gonna listen to 4 hours on Friday night. I was gonna get my vlog done early, and then, because that's why I laid down at like 10:30 and something like that, and I was gonna lay down from 10:30 to like 11:30, I think is when I set my alarm, and then get up, and I was gonna vlog from like 11:30 to 12:30, and then I was going to listen to my audiobook till like 4:30 in the morning. And then tonight, I was gonna listen to like another 4 hours throughout the day, and then I'd have the book done. Well, now I've screwed myself because it is the day before the live stream. We may have to move the live stream. I just don't know how I'm possibly gonna get this book done in 24 hours. I don't know, I need to talk to Mel about it today. I mean, it's not like it's a huge ordeal. There's only like 30 people that come to the live stream, which is great, you know. I mean, I've never in a million years thought I'd ever have a book club that had that, you know, 30 to 50 people that attend. Here's my coffee lip balm. There's like 2,000 people that are active, like, well, 2,000 people in the book club. And of course, not everybody reads the book every month, but there's quite a few people that read the book that just don't come to the live stream. I would do the live streams on YouTube since I figured that out. But last time we guested a bunch of people. That water tastes so good. But last time we guested a bunch of people. And I want to be able to do that again, and you cannot do that on YouTube Live anymore. Plus, I can kind of like moderate what's going on a little bit easier. The fact that it's smaller, I don't know, keeps it just a little bit nicer. So, because it doesn't go so fast, you know. So that's supposed to be on Sunday at 4 p.m. I'm gonna have to talk to her today and see what we're gonna do. I don't want to go into it just not having finished the book. I like the book. I just don't know that there's any way that I can possibly get it done. That means I have to listen to 9 hours in 24 hours. I just don't know that there's any possible way that I can get that done. So anyway, but I had kind of planned that on Saturday I wasn't sure that I was going to make videos anyway because of Carlitos' birthday party, and I just kind of wanted to be with family and stuff. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just take the day. But on Friday, because I was so busy, I had like all this sobriety stuff to do on Friday. I was like, I had like this commitment in the early evening, and then I was had to meet with a friend of mine in the afternoon. I was like, well, maybe, but I ended up making videos on Friday. So, okay, what did I do? I got up, and like I said, this vlog, did I say this already? This vlog is not going to be super long. It just can't be, you guys, today, because I have too many things. I'm on my way currently, well, I'm in the direction of, whenever I finish vlogging, I'll probably go in there and do it. I'm in the direction of going to get Carlitos' birthday present. Alex already got him something. He got him a bunch of Spider-Man stuff. Apparently when he was at Target. So Alex got off work yesterday and he went over and picked up Sarah, and then they went to Target and he bought Carlitos' birthday present. He was gonna get it from both of us, but I was like, no, I want to get him something too. So when he was there, he FaceTimed Carlitos and like was showing him stuff, and I was like, well, that makes it real exciting for the kids. So he got him like the Spider-Man stuff. He really wants a remote control car, so I think I'm gonna get him a remote control car is what I'm gonna do. People are up and early at Denny's this morning. So yeah, that's the direction I'm going in. But anyway, what was I gonna say? So this is gonna have to be a short vlog today. I got up on Friday and I'm trying to think of what I did. Oh, like I got up and I took the dogs out, gave PP his medication, and then I had to like leave and get out of the house because I had to go meet up with my friend. And so I went and met up with my friend for coffee. And then I had a bunch of errands to run after that. My day seemed to go so quick because I didn't leave there until like 3, and then I had to be at this recovery commitment thing at 5, and so it was like my day went super fast. I came home in between and I filmed. Did I do it afterwards or before? No, I did it afterwards. So like I did this thing, it was like an hour long. It was like an hour and a half long, and then I got home about 6:45, and I filmed a video for my Peter Mon channel, and then I filmed a video for my Peterisms channel, and I wanted to do a review video, but I didn't get to it. And not enough hours in the day. That's how I feel. I was thinking about this yesterday because I announced my book and my Peterisms channel so I'm going to start doing this like every month on my Peterisms channel. I'm going to read a book. There's going to be like, it's like kind of like a read along, not necessarily like a book club, but like a read along, self-help or motivational book. And so for November, I'm reading The 4 Agreements, and by Don Miguel Ruiz. I've never read it before. I heard it was fantastic. And but I was thinking about like how in my life I've had people like criticize me and be like, you're always starting things, you're always like new ideas, and you sometimes like don't like your ideas never come to fruition, but a lot of times they do. A lot of my ideas that I've started, like a book club or like a vlog or whatever, have taken on a life of their own, or YouTube. When I started doing YouTube on BookTube, that was like when I was committed to like posting regularly. I never thought, I never in a million years thought that it would turn into this, where it literally became my life. I just really had no idea. And that was just 3.5 years ago. So it's crazy how, much your life can change in such a short amount of time. I posted this picture yesterday on my Instagram, and I was like, can't wait to be back. It was like from Miami, and I was like, can't wait to be back in Miami, or be back in Miami next week or something. Will be our second home, hopefully very soon or something. Oh my God, I got so many people from like my personal life that called me and was like, are you moving? Did you not tell us something? Blah, 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 whatever. Like Melissa texted me and she was like, are you moving to Miami? What's going on? I was like, Melissa, we were just at your house last night. Don't you think we would have told you? And, but we have kind of been on the down low looking at houses, and it's been very exciting. We have some areas picked. And we kind of did anyway, that we, like, areas that we were looking at. I would love to be right in South Beach, but that's just not realistic. It's just too expensive. And as much as I like that Brickell area, which is one of the areas that we looked at, I just don't know that we can afford that. Like, I just think, I just don't want to be house poor for a second home, that we're not going to be in all the time. And it's not really in an area that you could Airbnb it. I mean, you could, but I don't know that. I don't know. And that's not really what I want to do with a place anyway. Like, if I have my own second place, like, I want to have my own second place that I can go to whenever I want. But so anyway, yeah, I don't think I really want to say a whole lot more about that right now. But we are seriously starting to look at some places. The other thing is that we would never move completely from Indianapolis. We would go back and forth. PP had a great day today. He was weird. I don't know if maybe it's the weather and now he's used to it or what, but he woke up today and what is this sandwich called? It says, is it called a Pilgrim? It's like all turkey. The Pilgrim, it is. And it's like, oh, a Thanksgiving feast in every bite, and it's cranberry sauce and turkey and at the Get-Go gas station. They should sponsor my channel, the Get-Go, for me sending people to go eat their Thanksgiving feast sandwich. See, that's like something that sounds good if I wasn't a vegetarian. But like turkey almost sounds worse to me though than a cheeseburger, in all honesty. PB did great today. I think he coughed like once the entire day, and he was super active, and he was running around in the backyard. I don't know if maybe he's just, now it's 34 degrees, that's so weird. Maybe he is just used to the weather. I think what happened was the night before I had felt bad for him because he just seemed so hungry, and he doesn't like that food. So I gave him like a huge plate of Boo and Tucker's food, and he literally ate it down in like 2 seconds. And I think it just made him sick. I think like he was like, his little stomach couldn't handle it, and I thought I was doing something right, you know. He just hates that food that he eats. Like, he hates it. Like, tonight we put it down and he wouldn't eat it. And you know what was so funny was, I stood in the kitchen finally and I was like, PP, I was like, that food is perfectly fine. You need to eat your food, PP. And he looked up at me and then he started eating the food. When I stood right there, he ate it. Like, ate it. And, like, not like just nibbled around it, but like he ate it. But then he did that for like 5 minutes, and then he looked up at me and he like walked away, and like half the plate was left. I was like, damn it, baby. You know, and our vet had always said, she said, I would rather have a lean dog with heart disease than a heavy dog with heart disease. So, you know, she's always happy with his weight, but I don't want him to get thin. Like, I don't want him, you know. And PP's never been heavy, and he's never been super thin. So, but he's doing much better today. He was running around the backyard and chasing his brothers, and then I had to, like, he's so funny. At one point, like, Boo and Tucker came inside, and I was like, PP! I was like, come on, PP, let's go inside, let's have treats. And he just, like, looked at me. And so I, like, walked inside, and I was, like, doing some other stuff, and I came back out there, because, like, he just walked around the backyard, and I go, PP, I go, come on, we gotta have treats, let's go. And he just, like, stopped and looked at me, and then he kept on, like, sniffing the grass. So I let him keep on walking around. I went back out there like 3 or 4 minutes later. And I go, PP, I go, you better come on. And he just stopped and looked at me, and I go, okay, I guess no treats then. And he came like running inside. It was so funny. It's so weird, you know, like Alex said to me yesterday, he said, I'm starting to worry that maybe PP is starting to wind down. You know, that they, because like a lot of what we've read, I need to stay off those articles, but like, my vet always tells me that. She's like, every situation is completely different. Do not read articles about that stuff. But you know, they'll say, oh, dogs with heart disease start to wind down and they get real lethargic at the end and they lose their appetite. You know, it's like, so I pick, you know, and choose symptoms that PP has and put them all together and basically say, well, it's over, you know. And then I get real worried and real stressed out. And so Alex was like, yesterday, he was like, because PP just didn't seem himself at all. And he was like, I think maybe he's starting to wind down. And Alex got real upset. And I was like, oh, I'm not ready for this. You know, I'm just not. I'm not ready for my life to change that drastically, I guess. And, I mean, we don't have any control, you know, over when pets go. I get so many, you know, comments in the comment sections from you guys. It just breaks my heart for you when you're like, oh, my, you know, I lost my dog today, or, and I always feel so horrible for you guys, you know. And I mean, I know it's a part of of life, you know, but so anyway, I was worried I was going to wake up and he was going to be 10 times worse than he had been on Thursday, but that wasn't the case. So he was 100% better, and I was very happy about it. And he's doing good this morning because right before I left, I took them out, and he just leaped off the bed to go outside, and I took him outside, and then I gave him his morning medicine and stuff, so. Anyway, I was singing that Donna song for Alex. I was like, oh, Donna. He was like, I was like, do you know that song? He was like, no. And I'd actually downloaded it like a couple weeks ago, and so I have it like on my iPad, or what do you call it when it's in your phone? Just your iTunes? Is that what you call it? Just your iTunes? I was like, here, I want to play it for you. He was not impressed, and I was standing up and I was like swaying it, and I was using it as like a microphone, and I had a girl and I wasn't there. But my favorite part of this song, what's my favorite part? Well, it's not till the very end. I didn't realize it till I was listening to the song. It's like the last 30 seconds. So then I was like, do you know Richie Valens? And he was like, didn't he die in a plane? And I go, is that all you know, about Richie Valens? And he goes, well, what do you know? And I go, didn't you see the movie? And he goes, what movie? And then I couldn't remember what the movie was called, you guys, and I had to like look it up. And I couldn't remember it, and I looked up Richie Valens movies. Well, apparently, to my idiocy, Richie Valens was like in a ton of movies, like in the 50s or 60s or whatever, you know, like Elvis was. And so it pulled up all of those movies, and I was like, what was that? And then all of a sudden it pulled up Lou Diamond Phillips' picture, and I was like, yes, Lou Diamond Phillips, that's who it is. And it was La Bamba, and I had totally forgot that it was da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, la-la-la-la-la-la Bamba. So I said to Alex, this is truly what it is like living with me, just so you know. So for you 14 haters that dislike my video every day, this is what it would be like for you all the time. But anyway, I was like, do you know that movie? And he was like, what movie? And I was like, la 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 Bamba. I know I missed or added a few laws in there. But anyway, I hope I got one of my haters to at least smile just a little bit, because y'all are so bitter. But anyway, better! He said, of course I know that movie. I go, well, you don't know Donna. He goes, well, who's Donna? And I go, Donna was his girlfriend in the movie. He goes, he died in a plane accident. I go, I know he died in a plane accident, Alex, but he had a girlfriend, her name was Donna, and he wrote a song for her. Was she his wife or something? I can see her in the movie. Whatever happened to Lou Diamond Phillips? So Alex and I tonight, I got done with my videos. He came home. I did not start my diet today. I'm sure it's a real surprise to people. and I'm real let down over it. But anyway, I was like, well, maybe Monday. Anyway, maybe Monday in June. I mean, it's just a joke, isn't it? So anyway, I got food, not healthy food either. I got Burger King. And so anyway, and sat there and ate, and he had all this chili, and we watched both episodes, the last 2 episodes of American Horror Story that we hadn't watched. It's so still on the, I was at the end and didn't even know it. It's so still on the lake this morning. But we watched both episodes of American Horror Story that we hadn't seen, and yeah, it was good. I might have gotten Burger King and a Crunchwrap Supreme. A black bean Crunchwrap Supreme. And my husband might have had several bowls of chili and 2 cookies from Melissa's. Look, it was Friday night. Anyway. So, yeah, so we watched American Horror Story. I'm trying to think of what the episodes were. They were good. It just doesn't seem very cohesive to me this season. I'll have to say, this is one of the seasons, American Horror Story. It's called 1984 if you're not watching it. And it's basically like modeled after like 80s horror movie, of which you know I love. And like, I was really excited about it when it started, and I'm not excited about it now. Like, it's okay. Like, I enjoy watching it, and I enjoy it. I enjoy having a show together that Alex and I watch. He really doesn't like the season, and but I'm just not that excited about it. I just don't think it's that good. I find myself talking about other stuff. Like, we were sitting there, we both love Billy Lords, I think is her name. And so he was like, he said something about her tonight. And I said, I love her. I said, she's fantastic. She was in Scream Queens too. And he was like, she just came out of nowhere. And I said, she's one of the richest women in Hollywood. And he goes, what? And I go, she's one of the richest women in Hollywood. And he said, we have this argument every time, he forgets who she is. And he goes, from doing Scream Queens in this show, no, she's not. And I go, her mother was Carrie Fisher, and her grandma was Debbie Reynolds. I don't know why I can always never remember it's Debbie Reynolds. And I said, I think she and her brother split the inheritance or something like that. Or she and Carrie Fisher's brother split the inheritance or something like that. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. I go, Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia from Star Wars. He's like, I know. He was so cute tonight. Alex had all the dogs around him. But then because all the dogs, Boo and Tucker were like right together. It was so cute. But because so he sits down, and then he puts a blanket over his lap. And then the dogs like all sit on the blanket around him. But then he thinks that is a reason to have me go get him things. So he was like, I have some sprees in there. But he said they were sweet tarts. He was like, I have some sweet tarts in there. Can you get those for me? And I went in there. And I was like, you mean sprees? He was like, yeah, sprees. Can you get me my sprees? I was like, yeah, sure. Then he was like, can you give me another blanket? Like, is there anything else you want me to do? Because you can't get up. He's like, I have the dogs. He kept on going, I have the dogs. Oh, man. I met a girl. Oh, that's my favorite part where it goes, oh, Jana. But that's at the very end, in case you want to know. It's like literally in the last 30 seconds. We went to a friend's house the other night that's like up the street, and we came from the other way, like down here, coming this way, and I never go down there. Like, I always turn around in this church, which is like out in the middle of nowhere anyway. If you live in Indianapolis, I'm in Oak Landon right now, which I have no reason to drive to Oak Landon, right? It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So, but it's like the backside of Geist, which is where I grew up. So if you go down here, there's like a gas station and like strip malls and stuff like that. So we came from that direction and we were going over here, and Alex said something about where, he goes, oh, I know where we are now. He was like, you know, me and so-and-so used to go to lunch over here all the time because Alex used to do a bunch of work stuff over here. And I was like, oh yeah. And all of a sudden we passed this church and I was like, that's that church that I turn around in all the time. It's at 800. The street is 800. Like 800 North or something. I can't see what it says. 800 Northwest or something. And I thought it said Boo on it. I was like, oh my God, it's Boo Street. That's so hilarious. And all of the corn is gone out here. Whenever I tell Alex though, like, I'll be like, oh yeah, I vlog out here. And he'll be like, you vlog out here? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you come out all the way out here and vlog. And I'm like, yeah, where do you think I vlog? Around our neighborhood? Like 200 times or something? I just got the biggest craving for a Dr. Pepper. I don't even know why. Doesn't that sound so good though right now, Dr. Pepper? You're probably like, no. Why would you just randomly think of that? Because I do. It sounds delicious to me. I want to get a bunch of Christmas candles and Christmas stuff. I don't know when I want to put up the Christmas decorations this year. Well, really, it's just my little tree. But I might buy some other things this year and put it up too. But I don't want the house to be too cluttered. Although the other day I said to Alex, did he bring it up or did I bring it up? Because we were talking about getting new sheets. I love that comforter. I love so much. We might need to get like another one in a different color or something, so that when we clean them, we can just put the new one on. But he said, I was thinking about getting some new sheets, and I said, do you want to get another pair of sheets? Because I really liked that brand of jersey sheets I got. And that's what I meant. And he was like, yeah, do you want to get flannel? And I go, flannel? And he was like, I haven't had flannel sheets in forever, but I like flannel looking sheets that are jersey, you know? And he was like, yeah, you know, and because I had said to him, I said to him like a month or two ago, like, could we get some flannel sheets? Because I like how they look, and I think they're cute and masculine and stuff. And he was like, yeah, he was like, we can get some flannel sheets. And then the other day, he like mentioned it. He was like, are we going to get the flannel sheets? And I was like, well, we can. I can't believe that, like, I don't know what just made me think of this, that like every day of my dad's life, like he's been up for like 2 hours already. Like, I know if I went to my dad's house right now, like he would have like read the newspaper, had like his first 2 cups of coffee for the day, and be like completely showered and dressed for the day, even on a Saturday. My dad was never like the type that, like, when he went into work, my dad is a super sharp dresser, and when I was a kid, he like went to Chicago and he got his suits from this store called Mark Shale in Chicago, and my dad always wore the coolest suits. Like, in the winter, I just remember he had the most beautiful suits, and they were like, you know, all these tweeds, and you know, and then he would have just really pretty ties, and he always just looked like a college professor, you know, at Yale or something like that. And he wears little round rim glasses and stuff. And so anyway, my dad loves clothes, and he's just, but like those kind of clothes, you know, he's just a sharp dresser. But you know how like some people, like I can remember like when I was talking to Caroline, my cousin Caroline, about her dad, my Uncle Dave, And she would say, you know, Dad, every day, no matter what, gets up and he puts on like khakis and like a button-down collared shirt, you know? Well, that is not my dad. That is not my dad. My dad is very much, like he gets up every day and takes a shower. He like gets up, reads the paper. My dad reads like every day, like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, every single day. And drinks his coffee. And then probably read some other book. My dad's always reading some obscure book about something that you would never, he goes to the bookstore and he buys like, he only reads nonfiction and he buys like, you know, 5 or 10 books on topics that you have never heard of before about things. Just, I mean, he just reads everything random. So when we go and see him, he's always telling us about, you know, something completely random about like, this religious organization, you know, in this island that nobody's ever heard of. Not religious organization, but religious group or whatever, you know, or it'll be about a certain way to like, you know, make tea or some animal that's extinct or something. He's always reading about all these like just really random things. But anyway, but like on the weekends, my dad would get up, you know, and he would, showered and ready, but he would always just like in the summer, you know, put on like shorts and a t-shirt. My dad always, so this idea of me collecting t-shirts wherever I go, my dad did it. And it wasn't so much like a thing that he collected. I wouldn't say that he collected them. He just always bought t-shirts wherever he went. So like, you know, my entire childhood was filled with my dad. My dad has worn Patagonia since I can remember. And he always would wear these like grayish or khaki Patagonia shorts that were kind of like mid-thigh. But they were like sailor shorts. Because, you know, my dad always was on a boat. And because he had his own sailboat, and then he just was always on sailboats. He did like a lot of like medical missionary work on sailboats and stuff like that. So then he would have a t-shirt on top of it that would say like Honduras or, you know, St. Thomas or something, you know. He had all these t-shirts, mostly from like the Caribbean, that he would wear. And that he would grab in the airport or whatever, or some bar that, you know, like restaurant, like in these places. My dad was like such a cool guy. He, and you know, he was single for a long time too, and he really enjoyed, I think, being single. And I mean, he enjoys being with my stepmom, but I think the time that he was single, he enjoyed it because every winter, it would scare my mom to death. This was after they were separated, but he would go to Banff, Alberta, Canada. I think that's correct. And he would hike in the Canadian Rockies by himself. I have several t-shirts from when I was a kid that said Banff on them, and he did too. But he would hike there when he was a kid, or when I was a kid, by himself. He would go up there for like 2 or 3 weeks. He actually dated this girl for a while that he met up there, and she was from Australia. She was from New Zealand, and she was like one of the editors on the movie The Man from Snowy River. But anyway, she was like a world traveler. That was before like people just had like a backpack and traveled, I remember. He was so excited. She came to like visit. She stayed for like an extended period of time, and we like watched that movie, which I don't think I ever really understood. But anyway, and at the very end, her name was in the credits. But my dad, that was when he did a lot of traveling like that. That's when he did like a lot of the medical work, like in Honduras and places like that. My mom would be like, I can't believe that he's taking all these risks. That was when he went to the US Open. So, okay. My dad, so I come from a big tennis family. Like, my family loves tennis. So my dad went to the US Open one year, but he wanted to get like courtside. So he made up these, he bought a huge, my dad loves cameras, he always has. And so he had just bought this brand new Nikon camera, I think it was. And he had this like huge, what do you call it? Like neck thing. It was like this big, you know? And it was like one of these, it was like, this is in the 70s. This was like 78, right? And it was like, it looked like a camera strap, but that was like woven, like hippie woven, you know what I mean? It was very artsy and colorful. And he like grew a beard out so that he looked like just some like random photographer that was like, you know, and then he had these like jean cutoff shorts on, and like he has pictures of himself at his house, like, okay, and like these huge tube socks pulled up, and then he had on like just some t-shirt that said like St. Thomas or something on it, and he went with this huge camera, and he literally, I mean, this is back in the day, like today you couldn't do it probably, you know, but he made this like some, I can't, like Sports Illustrated or something like that. He made a press pass and laminated it. He laminated it and everything, and he went there and got courtside and literally got pictures of these guys courtside and at the US Open in New York City, and has pictures of him like, you know, down on one like, you know, knee like this, like taking pictures and stuff that people took of him. That's so funny that my dad did that. My dad is somebody that is like totally unafraid. Like he is unafraid and really, and we talk a lot about this word unbothered. Like he is really unbothered. Like it's funny how it has changed for him though over time. Like when I was younger, you know, like he would get really incensed is not really the word, but like, you know, if you told him something, he would get kind of heated about it. Not really heated, but like, okay, this isn't okay, and blah, blah, blah. He just isn't like that today. Like, if you tell him something, you know, he's just like, he just kind of laughs, you know, he's like, okay, you know, like, he just doesn't give things any time or energy that he doesn't care about. If that makes sense. Like, he loves his dog, he loves my stepmom, he loves me, he loves Alex, he loves the house, he loves being on the water, he loves his work. Other than that, he loves to read, he loves to travel. Other than that, he doesn't pay it a whole lot of attention. He just doesn't, you know? My jaw is hurting, I don't know why. Boo Radley is always the last dog to wake up, usually. Well, Pee-Pee has been the last couple days, but Boo Radley usually is. And Tucker's always the first one to wake up. But tonight, Boo Radley, I had to wake him up to take them outside. And Boo Radley was crying while he was dreaming. He was like, you know, running in his sleep, and he was like, Well, it was so cute. What do you think dogs dream of? Do you think they just dream of like running outside or chasing birds or eating snacks? Or when you think about the fact that like our dogs or cats or pets or whatever, they know us, and they kind of recognize probably some people on the street or friends that, or family that we have that come by, and that's the limitation of their world, you know? Although, like, as much as dogs seem to understand, I really think they understand a lot more than we give them credit for. I also think that dogs watch TV. I don't think they understand it, but I think they actually can see images. Like, I was reading something, and it said a long time ago, and it said that dogs can't see, like, the images that are on a TV. And then I read something recently. Is that a new strip mall? What is that? What is that? Oh, I've got to go see what this is. Is this a Tide Cleaners drive-thru? What is that? I want to go there. I might have to try that for my review channel. But, then I read something recently and it said that dogs do know what is, this is like a brand new thing. It's kind of back here and kind of hard to get to though. That they do know, like when they're watching TV, what they're seeing. Which is funny because like our dogs watch TV. Boo Radley has no clue what's on that TV. But PP kind of watches it and he kind of goes like this and watches it, you know? Tide cleaners. I don't get it. Drive-through entrance. Do you think it's like you drop your clothes off? It's gotta be. I'm gonna look it up because I wanna know. I wanna know if she really loves me. Oh my God, they're everywhere. Dry cleaning and laundry. Wash and fold. Tide Cleaners planning to open 5 indie area franchises. Why can't I get to the article? I don't want to leave a comment. It says you must be logged in to leave a comment. I don't care to be I don't care. I just want to read the article. What's the problem? Tide Cleaners provides personalized washing, folding, dry cleaning, and alterations. The future of laundry care, brought to you by America's #1 trusted brand. What are people going back to all of that? Like, oh, there's a little dog park in there. How cute is that by that apartment complex? But I will tell you what's funny is, it seems like it was so long ago that we didn't have a washer and dryer. Do you remember that period of time that we didn't have a washer and dryer? And we had to go to the laundromat, which I quite frankly loved going to the laundromat. Nowadays, it seems like, well, I don't right now because our washer and dryer is so fast that like, I put a load of wash in and then I get it done and then that's it. But it seems like I do a load of wash like every single day. I do something. Whether it's towels and linens. I need to do towels. We have so many towels though. We don't have so many towels to clean. We have so many towels, period. So like we clean them and then we put them, you know, away. Then we have more towels that we bring out because we always buy towels. It seems like whenever there's like a sale like on nice towels, like, well, Alex is good about that, about buying towels. I usually buy like the bedding and he buys towels. So yeah. But I used to like always, like once we got the washer and dryer, I would always have something in the washer or the dryer and, you know, be like running it. I don't so much. I wonder if that place is open, that Rise place. It's interesting to me that a lot of these like brunch places are not open at 5 till 7 on Saturday morning. I'm really kind of surprised by that. I think Patachou's open by now. It's at the end and I didn't know it. I said this was going to be short, and look, it ended up being long. I'm awake now. I don't think that I'm going to be able to go back to bed, which is fine, because then I can just make my videos for the day that I want to make and stuff. But, part of the problem is I don't know what I'm going to make my videos about just yet. Well, I could drive around and listen to my audiobook. God knows I need to do that, so. What is with all this crazy construction? Anyway, I think I'm gonna get off here now and just make this a little bit shorter, and I'll try to vlog longer tomorrow, you guys. Oh my God, this huge detour. What does it say? I'm gonna go this way because I don't know how to go that way around. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here now and listen to, I guess, my audiobook. I want to get a Dr. Pepper. And I've got to go. Oh, I've got to buy Carlitos' birthday present. I still have to go do that. So anyway, I'm gonna go to the Meijer and do that. I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, do not have other plans. Enjoy your day. Make the most of it. Do something today. Are you kidding me? This road is closed too. I feel like I'm stuck in a Twilight Zone. Anyway, do something today. Road closed to through traffic. Do something today that that you're gonna look back on and be proud of, or happy that you did. You're exchanging a day of your life for it. Life is not a dress rehearsal. And make sure that you look in yourself in the mirror. Back up. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you say to yourself, I love you, you are valuable, you are important. Important. And you allow yourself to know your own self-value and your own self-worth. You gotta start telling ourselves that on a daily basis. And most importantly, make sure that you pass it on to somebody else and let them know that they are important to you. Live your life with compassion, love, and kindness. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!